Hi everyone, I hope you've all had a good weekend so far. Today's video is of course going to be my May favourites because it's the end of the month and it's about that time to share with you all what I've been loving throughout the month. So there's a fair few new products here. There's a couple that I've rediscovered or repurchased that have just made me fall back in love with the product, but there's quite a good mixture of products here again to share with you all. I'm going to start off with a brush cleaner, and before, I think you may remember that I've been using the e.l.f. brush cleaner. e.l.f. no longer stock to the UK or supply the UK anymore. They're kind of solely online and only in America. That obviously meant that I wouldn't be able to repurchase it. Not that I think I would have repurchased it anyway, just because I don't really feel like it gave my brushes a deep clean. So I'd heard a lot about the MAC brush cleanser and I popped into the store last weekend or maybe the weekend before and picked this up. It's £11 or £11.50 for a bottle, I think. I'll pop all the information in the description box below. It does have a slightly alcoholic scent to it and it does linger on your brushes, but I really feel like that this gets down and gives the brushes such a nice deep clean. They come away feeling so much cleaner than they ever did with the e.l.f. cleaner that I was using. I find that after my brushes have been cleaned with this, they apply my makeup so much better and it looks so much nicer. And I've kind of got back into cleaning my brushes with this again because it makes the job of cleaning brushes so much easier because it doesn't take as long to kind of work the product into the bristles and then rinse it out as what the e.l.f. one did before. So I really love using this. I can't say that I will be loyal to it in the future, but I'm open to experimenting with new brands and this has been really good. Next up is the Quick Fix facials, and this is the Purifying Charcoal Mask, which is to help congested and lifeless skin. So it's kind of to help anyone suffering with oily, prone to breakout skin, and it just kind of looks a little bit dull. It does come out quite a thick consistency, but it applies quite nicely and you only need to apply a thin layer to your skin. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes to dry and you can just then literally wash it off. It's not very difficult to wash off. I know some masks you have to kind of scrub to really get it off. I tend to apply this before I get in the shower and then I can just rinse it off in the shower. It makes life so much easier. I really find that this goes down deep into my pores and kind of gets all the rubbish out and leaves my skin feeling so much cleaner, and it does look much brighter. It kind of helps to remove away that dead layer of skin that can sometimes add to dull, lifeless skin. I use this about once a week, especially if I'm going through a patch where my skin has been particularly acne prone. I don't find this drying at all because I do have quite dry skin too, and this is one of those ones that doesn't dry out your skin at all. I actually feel that it doesn't leave that tight feeling that I get from just adding water to my face or trying to take any makeup off. So this is a really good one for anyone that suffers from blemishes, acne prone skin, or just dull, lifeless skin. Next up is another old favourite, but I've recently repurchased this, and it's the Beauty Blender, and this is the full size one. So I got one in a free Birchbox, I think probably about a year and a half ago, and it was kind of getting a bit grubby, it was getting really difficult to clean, and it just wasn't applying makeup the same way that it was in the first 6 months of having it. I had managed to save up enough Birchbox points to buy one of these, so I didn't actually have to pay anything for them. And generally I think they're quite expensive, they're about £16. My one clearly needs to clean. It's nice to have one of the spongier ones back. It reminds me how good it makes my makeup look when I apply it using this. So I just bounce this onto the skin after I've kind of dabbed foundation all over. The pointed end is great for foundation to apply under your eyes or to just rub in concealer. And I really love how this just blends out the foundation and it makes it look really natural on the skin. Next up is another new product, and it's from Bumble and Bubble, and it's their Hairdresser's Invisible Oil Heat UV Protective Primer. So I got this in a set that I got for Christmas and I've only just gotten around to using this. I haven't used the shampoo and conditioner because I'm kind of saving that up for a holiday because they're like the mini size. So they're great size for travel. But I've been using this because I ran out of my normal kind of heat protection spray and I thought I'd give this a go. I really like how much more manageable this makes my hair, and it really does get rid of any frizz or flyaway ends. Literally just spray this on to damp hair, and I normally tend to do that after I've towel dried it, brushed it through, and then apply this, and then you can just go on and dry and style as intended. Like I said, it makes it so much more manageable for your hair, especially when straightening. I find that it straightens so much better when I've used this. So this is a fantastic product if you suffer with frizzy, flyaway ends. Definitely give this a try. Next up is another product that I have rediscovered, and it's the La Roche Posay Effaclar Duo. So I was using this, I think probably about 6 months ago, and I remembered that I had half of this bottle left in my stash, and I've kind of virtually used all of this up, but I'm going to repurchase some more of this because it reminded me just how good this was. I've been using this instead of applying a moisturiser at the moment, just because everything else seems to be aggravating my skin and kind of making my breakouts a little bit worse. The idea of the Effaclar Duo is that you apply it both morning and evening, and you use it as either part of your skincare routine or you use it as a moisturiser, and I've been using it as a moisturiser. You can also use this just to touch up certain areas, so if you want to spot apply this you can, but I've just been applying it to my whole face as that's where the breakouts have been at the moment. They haven't been targeted to one specific area. What I find this does is it kind of just helps balances my skin tone out. It eases any blemishes that I've got. It kind of makes them a little bit less noticeable. I have heard that some people have had fantastic results with this in that all of their blemishes have cleared up or virtually gone, and it just improves the skin tone completely. I haven't used this for a solid period of time to be able to say that it has dramatically changed the appearance of my skin, but I have noticed, even just using this for about a week, that it has made so much more of a difference to my skin, and it has helped improve it so much more. So that's why I'm going to go out and repurchase this, just because it is that good, and it is well worth the money, because I think it is about £20, so it is quite expensive for a moisturiser or a skin product, but I would really recommend using this if you have spot prone skin, blemish prone skin, or just trouble skin in general. This is a new release from Maybelline, and it's their Lash Sensational Lash Multiplying Mascara, and I've got the waterproof one. As you know from probably my January favourites, I switched over to waterproof mascaras because I have really watery eyes, and I was just finding that generally the normal mascaras weren't coping, and I was ending up with like black smears underneath my eyes, and it was just a hot mess. So I bought the waterproof version of this one just because my other mascaras are getting to that stage where they're a little bit dry and could probably do with being thrown out. And I've heard so many bloggers talking about this and saying how good it is. I really like the brush on this. It's a silicone brush, and it's kind of curved on the top and then it kind of goes in on the bottom. So I find that the bottom section is really good for like your lower lashes, as it really catches all of the lashes. And the top curved section is really good for your top lashes. It really does give like a curve to your lashes, and it kind of applies the product to all of them individually so that it makes them seem longer and like there's much more of them. Generally, I'm not a person that would go and buy any of the high-end versions of the mascara because I don't think most of them live up to what they claim to do. I personally feel that the drugstores nail it where mascaras are concerned, especially Maybelline. I tend to just stick to Maybelline and don't really deviate to any other brand, just because I think that they are so good and they really know what they're doing with mascaras. This is again another one of my favourite mascaras. I'd really recommend this to anyone who finds that their lashes are a bit lifeless and don't really tend to curl very well. This really does lift them up and make them multiply and look so much more fuller. So my last favourite this month are some brushes that I picked up from eBay. Generally, I don't pick up brushes from eBay because I've always been a bit dubious about them as to whether or not they're going to be very good, and whether or not they're going to have the bristles fall out, and how good they're going to be for cleaning. Some of these I spotted on the blog. I think it was Raspberry Kiss. I'll pop the link down to that particular blog post below. So this one is very similar to the Bare Minerals, I think, and that's because it's got this kind of hole in the centre there where you put your foundation in, and then you can kind of apply it to your skin and then buff it in. All of these cost around 99p. I think none of them were more than £2. So they're really affordable alternatives if you're just starting off your collection, or you just want a few brushes to add or try out before you buy the actual real version. I've really loved using this one to apply my foundation. I still use my beauty blender just to kind of buff it out completely, but this has been really good. I've been using a lot less foundation with this, as I just apply one dab to each side of my face and then kind of just rub it in. This one is very similar to the Sigma. I think it's the F80 possibly, in the sense that it's just a flat rounded kabuki brush that you can just buff your foundation in. Again, I found this really good for concealer and buffing foundation in. It just applies the makeup so much more flawlessly, and it stops any of that cakiness, as I find that this does absorb some of the product, but only any excess that is on your skin. This one is a concealer brush, as I didn't really have a concealer brush and I didn't see many around to purchase. So I picked this one up just to see what it was like, and this is great. It's got a really long handle and it's good for getting in under the eye and blending in concealer there, as well as setting the concealer with your powder as well. This is good for that. So I kind of use it for the liquid products and then to set the product as well. Last but not least is the contour brush. So this is kind of like a curved edge brush with a flat top. This is really great, I find, for dipping into my contour powder and then kind of just popping along my cheekbones here, and it gives a really nice defined contour line. I do find that sometimes I have to go in and blend out the line, as it can sometimes look a little bit harsh and make my cheekbones look a little bit jaunt. But generally, for cheek brushes from eBay, I think these have been fantastic. I've loved adding these to my collection. So far, I haven't had any problems with bristles falling out, the brushes breaking, or anything like that, because I know some people say that the glue can come apart from here. I have yet to wash these. I'm due to do that today, so I'll see how they stand up then, but so far so good. So there you have my May favourites. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I will be back the same time next week with a new one for you, and I think it's going to be my May-June empties. So I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye. Tune